In slow motion, almost rehearsed, her gentle presence brought a new energy into our home. I felt a flutter of nervousness. Raymond watched us both with intense curiosity, his expression a mixture of wonder and uncertainty. My pulse quickened. Time seemed to slow down. The conversation flowed naturally between the three of us, creating an atmosphere of intimate connection that was both unexpected and fascinating. "Wow," Raymond whispered, his voice revealing his emotional investment in this moment. I couldn't speak. I was completely absorbed in the profound experience of crossing boundaries we had only discussed in theory before. The lines we'd drawn in our marriage, shifting, evolving, transforming. His hands rested nervously on the armchair. 7 years of marriage, and I'd never seen that look in his eyes before. Vulnerable, captivated, completely present. "Is this real?" I managed to whisper, my voice trembling slightly as my emotions intensified. "Just breathe," he whispered reassuringly, his hand steadying mine. "We're in this together." But how could I remain calm when everything had changed in a single evening? Before we proceed further, if you're a new viewer, welcome. Make sure you stick around till the end because what's about to unfold is a story of relationship transformation you won't want to miss. Do me a quick favor. Share this video with someone you care about. And before you go, give us a thumbs up. It fuels us to create new content daily, and it's the only way I know you want more stories like this. Now, back to our story. It started 3 weeks ago. A random Tuesday. Nothing special about it, just another evening after work. Raymond had been quieter than usual at dinner, pushing his pasta around the plate more than eating it. "Something on your mind?" I asked, reaching for my wine. He looked up, those thoughtful eyes meeting mine. "Just thinking. About us," he said, setting down his fork. My stomach dropped. Those conversations that start with us rarely end well, right? 7 years of marriage had taught me that much. "What about us?" I tried to keep my voice steady, casual. He smiled, that slow, half-smile that had first made me fall for him in grad school. "Nothing bad, Natalie. Promise." I relaxed, but only slightly. "Then what?" He took a breath, looked down, then back at me. "I've been thinking about trying something different." "Different how?" The wine suddenly tasted too bitter on my tongue. His hesitation was brief but noticeable. "Have you ever thought about inviting someone else into our lives? Opening up our relationship in a controlled way?" The question hung there between us like a fragile glass ornament that could shatter at any moment. I almost laughed. Almost. But the seriousness in his eyes stopped me. "You mean, like?" My voice sounded strange to my own ears. He nodded slowly. "I want us to explore new dynamics. To see what we might discover about ourselves, about each other." I set my glass down carefully, afraid my trembling fingers might drop it. Was this really happening? Was my husband, who once felt uneasy when others showed interest in me, suggesting what I thought he was? Why? It was all I could manage. Because, he started, then paused, searching for words. Because I want us to experience something new together. Something that might bring us closer in unexpected ways. I stared at him, trying to process what he was saying. This wasn't just about adding a new element to our relationship. This was about exploring boundaries together. I've never considered, I stammered. "You don't have to answer now," he said quickly, reaching for my hand. "Just think about it." Think about it. How could I think about anything else after that? 4 days, his suggestion followed me everywhere. In the shower, at work, while making dinner. The question lurked in every quiet moment. And what scared me most wasn't that he'd asked. It was how I felt about it. Curious. Wasn't I supposed to be offended? Jealous? Something other than intrigued? But there it was. A small, persistent voice wondering, what would it be like? How would it change us? The thoughts came unbidden, warming my cheeks in the middle of grocery shopping, making me lose my place during work presentations. One night, lying beside him while he slept, I admitted something to myself that I hadn't dared acknowledge before. Part of me wanted this too. Not just for him, for me. The realization both terrified and excited me. Was I really considering this? Could our relationship handle it? More importantly, could I? By the second week, I'd made my decision. Not with certainty, but with a kind of thoughtful curiosity that felt both foreign and exciting. Yes, I told him one evening as we sat on the patio, the setting sun painting everything gold. He looked up from his book. Yes, what? Yes to your suggestion. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure he could hear it. His expression shifted from confusion to realization. You're sure? I wasn't. Not completely. But I nodded anyway. But, I added quickly, I need to be the one to arrange it. My way. My terms. Something flashed in his eyes. Surprise, respect, perhaps both? Absolutely, he agreed, his voice lower than usual. Whatever makes you comfortable. The power of those words settled over me like a warm blanket. The next week passed in a blur of careful preparations. Finding the right person wasn't easy. It had to be someone I felt comfortable with, someone who understood the boundaries, someone who wouldn't complicate our lives afterward. When I finally found her through a trusted connection, everything fell into place with surprising ease. Her name was Vanessa, and from our first cautious coffee meeting, I understood why people were drawn to her. She had a quiet confidence that was magnetic, an easy laugh, and eyes that seemed to see right through pretense. Have you experienced this kind of arrangement before? I asked, trying to sound more confident than I felt. Yes, she admitted with a small smile. But every situation is unique. Every couple has different needs and boundaries. We talked for hours about expectations, comfort levels, and what would happen afterward. By the time we parted, my nervousness had transformed into anticipation. The evening I chose arrived with perfect timing. Raymond had been away on a business trip for 3 days, and I'd told him to come straight home that evening. No detours, no delays. I texted him midday, be home by 8. No questions. Just trust me. His reply came seconds later, intrigued. We'll be there. I spent the afternoon in careful preparation, creating a warm, inviting atmosphere. Music playing softly, wine chilling, and my own appearance, dressed in a way that made me feel confident yet comfortable. My hands trembled slightly. Was I really doing this? Yes. Yes, I was. Vanessa arrived at 7:30, looking elegant in a simple black dress that somehow managed to be both sophisticated and approachable. Her calm energy steadied my racing thoughts. Her smile was gentle, reassuring, like she could sense every doubt flickering through my mind. Nervous? She asked, accepting the glass of wine I offered. Terrified, I admitted with a shaky laugh. Is that normal? She smiled warmly, touching my arm lightly. Completely normal. We'll take everything at your pace. And remember, at any point, if you want to stop, just say so. No questions asked. I nodded gratefully. The doorbell rang at precisely 8 p.m., sending my heart into my throat. That'll be Raymond, I whispered unnecessarily. I crossed to the door on trembling legs, opening it to find him standing there, travel bag still in hand, curiosity evident in his tired eyes. Dark circles under them. 3-day stubble on his jaw. Still handsome as ever. Hi, I said softly, taking his bag and setting it aside. Hi yourself, he replied, his gaze taking in my appearance and the changed atmosphere of our home. What's going on? Everything feels different. I didn't answer, just took his hand and led him toward the living room. My fingers laced through his, squeezing slightly. I felt the exact moment he sensed another presence in the house. His steps faltered slightly, his hand tightening around mine. When we reached the doorway, I watched his face carefully. Vanessa stood by the window, silhouetted against the evening light, wine glass in hand. She turned slowly as we entered. Raymond froze, his eyes darting between us. Understanding dawned on his face, followed by disbelief, then unmistakable nervousness. I saw his throat work as he swallowed hard. "Natalie." His voice was barely audible. "You said you wanted this," I reminded him, suddenly unsure. My confidence wavered. "If you've changed your mind." "No," he interrupted quickly. "No, I haven't. I just didn't expect, tonight." The atmosphere shifted, charged with anticipation and nervous energy. Vanessa moved first, setting down her glass and approaching us with measured steps. Her confidence was contagious. I felt my anxiety melting away as she stopped before us. "It's nice to finally meet you, Raymond," she said, extending her hand. "Natalie has told me so much about you both." What followed was an evening of profound connection. Conversations that delved deeper than any we'd had with others before. Boundaries explored. Perspectives shared. New understandings reached. The three of us talking, laughing, connecting in ways I hadn't anticipated. As the evening progressed, I found myself seeing Raymond through new eyes, watching him share thoughts and feelings he'd never expressed before, even to me. And he was seeing me differently too, witnessing sides of me emerging that had remained hidden in our usual dynamic. Through it all, there remained an unspoken current of emotional intimacy that was both exhilarating and terrifying. The vulnerability of allowing ourselves this experience. The trust required to step into unknown territory together. Later, much later, as Raymond and I lay talking after Vanessa had gone, I felt something shift between us. Something fundamental yet intangible. Like our relationship had expanded somehow, grown deeper roots. "Thank you," Raymond murmured, his voice thick with emotion. "For what?" I asked, looking up at him. "For trusting me. For trusting us enough to try this. For being brave enough to go there." I studied the familiar planes of his face, the face I'd woken up to for 7 years. Yet somehow, he looked different now. "Do you regret it?" I whispered. He shook his head immediately. "Not for a second." "Do you?" Did I? I searched myself for any hint of regret, any crack in the foundation of our relationship. Waited for the guilt to come crashing down. It didn't. "No," I answered honestly, surprising myself with the certainty in my voice. It was illuminating. Eye-opening, really. He laughed softly. "That's one word for it." We remained wrapped in conversation until dawn broke, the first light of day streaming through the curtains we'd forgotten to close. We discussed what we'd experienced, how it made us feel, what it meant for us moving forward. No secrets. No judgment. Just honesty. It wasn't just an experience, it was a door open to deeper communication, to greater understanding of each other's desires and boundaries. A new level of intimacy I never expected to find through sharing our relationship in this carefully controlled way. 3 weeks later, and that night still resonates between us like a shared secret, something precious and private that belongs only to us. Sometimes I catch him watching me with a new kind of wonder, as if seeing me for the first time all over again. Has our marriage changed? Absolutely. But not in the ways I feared. Not in the ways you might expect. We talk more openly now, not just about desires but about everything, dreams, fears, hopes. That night removed a barrier neither of us realized existed. It's like we found a new language to speak to each other. And me. I've discovered aspects of myself I never knew existed, not just about connection or intimacy, but about courage, about trust, about the capacity to grow beyond what I thought were my limits, about the kind of woman I can be when I let go of fear, when I embrace the unexpected. Would I choose to explore these boundaries again? That's a question for another story. So, Have you ever had a conversation about your relationship that terrified you but ultimately brought you closer? Or maybe you've taken a leap of faith that scared and excited you in equal measure. What boundaries have you pushed that ended up strengthening your connection? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button right now and tap the notification bell so you don't miss my next video. I share new stories every day, exploring all the complex, beautiful, messy parts of modern relationships. The kinds of stories we don't usually admit to ourselves, let alone others. Until next time, remember, sometimes the scariest conversations lead to the most profound growth. And the deepest connections often come when we're brave enough to be truly vulnerable with the ones we love. What would happen if you said yes to something that challenges your comfort zone? Thank you for watching. Don't be shy. Share your thoughts below. See you tomorrow with another story that might just change how you see your own relationship. The question is, are you brave enough to watch it? Stay tuned.